back with some more Magic the Gathering Arena on this fine Wednesday. Uh, Before we get into things, I'm going to let you know I got like 2 hours of sleep last night, or three or something, because the company that I work for, the game publisher, we launched a new Kickstarter, and it was really exciting, and I woke up at 2, and I was excited, and I couldn't fall back asleep. So I am running on fumes at the moment after monitoring comments and, sending out messaging all day, and so starting pretty early today. Probably going to call it really early as well, because I am really tired. So, yeah, but in the meantime, we're still going to play some Magic because, playing Magic on 3 hours of sleep, there's no real decision making that happens in Magic, so it's pretty much just a game of random chance, and it's not a disadvantage to play when you're addled and not paying attention to what's going on. Now, of course, that's all complete lies. This will be a handicap for me for sure. So I'm trying to think here. What's the decks that I kind of have in the rotation at the moment? What can I play that doesn't require as many decision points? And I think the answer to that is that I don't really have any decks that don't require many decision points. I think maybe this Beating Wings deck, the flyer beatdown version, less card advantage, more just smacking people. So, yeah, let's maybe take a quick look at this one here. I don't think we've played it before on the stream, so we'll start with this and we'll see what we feel like. So it's pretty standard Flyers build where we have lots of 1-drops here, a few Rally of Wings. This notably doesn't have any favorable wins to give all of our Flyers +1/+1 because I wanted to try, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's pretty bad. I figured I would just try this list without it, see what we think about it. We also have a couple of kind of odd inclusions here. We have this, the Lookout's Dispersal and the Incubation Incongruity are things that I saw on Hoagland's stream a couple weeks ago, that he was quite fond of both of these inclusions, helping us find Sephara, or, the Flyers that we need to cast Sephara for cheap. And then the Lookout's Dispersal having a lot of valid cost reducers on one. I thought it looked pretty nifty, so I thought I would try it out for myself. Oh, you will note that I'm short 2 Glacial Fortresses, so that might come back to bite us here. But I did actually happen to open 4 copies of Sephara from M20, so I didn't have to spend any wild cards forging her, so that was pretty cool. But anyway, so that's the deck. We're just going to do some best of 1 for right now, so we won't be paying attention to the sideboard. Let's get to it. I guess one of the good things about waking up so early is that I managed to get daily quests done really early today. Got the camera in a new spot today, kind of trying a new camera setup. It's suspended differently from my cabinet, so let me know if it looks alright. Speaking of looking alright, this is so sketchy, but I'm going to keep it because we've got our lands and we've got 2 Flyers, and, having 2 Sepharas is not ideal, but it's not the worst. So do we want to lead on Miscreant, or probably just lead on the Island, hold up Sailor, keep our opponent guessing. Since they led on Hallowed, if they would have led with like a red source or something, I'd probably go Miscreant first, just because we're... Oh, I didn't realize that, oh man. And then we just drew another Sephara. Do you know what? I'm kind of tempted to call it with having misplayed that badly. I thought that we were passing priority through our opponent's turn, but we actually just shipped it back to our turn. So first misplay of the day. And then we do another Sephara, so that's really cool. No reason not to flash this guy in response, because they're going to look at our hand now anyways. I'm going to give them a hello as they check out this sweet grip of triple Sephara that we've got. I do wonder if 4 Sephara is right in these lists, especially when we have Incubation Incongruity to search Sephara. If maybe we actually just want to have 3 because of times like this, and the fact that you often... it's hard to sticker a lot of the time. So we can incubation incongruity, which I actually think I like here. We could also draw off of the sailor, but I think I just like casting incubation here. We just find another spectral sailor, that's fine. I was hoping to find another Empyrean eagle. Oh, I just misplayed again by playing that guy out, but they knew we had it. Although now we're not bluffing the gate. I think my thought process was, well, if they have another Legion's End, I don't want to get ripped out of my hand, but if they have another Legion's End, literally doesn't matter because it's coming out of my hand or out of play. Alright, so if we can get a Hanged Executioner off the top, we can actually just rip a Safara this turn. That's not what I was looking for, but it's a flyer. I don't think we ever get anywhere attacking our opponent's Teferi here. We'll be taking it down by effectively one each turn. And they'll be gaining 4 life and they'll be losing 4 life off it. Notably, I did not play the Healer's Hawk there because what I actually want to do with my mana this turn is draw an additional card, try to find one more flyer, and then hopefully get a Safara out next turn by going Hawk, Flyer. Well, that's gonna wreck our plan, isn't it?
I'm known for my excellent timing.
So yeah, I should have actually... Actually, no, that was wrong. Because we can't actually play. I was thinking if we drew a Flasher, we would want to have done this earlier, but we only had 4 mana, so... Ooh, now there's some beats. +2/+2 until end of turn. Yeah, I think we're just gonna call this one a loss. I'm gonna try to gather my thoughts a little bit, and we're gonna try again. Because I don't see us getting out from under double Teferi under any circumstances. And I don't think that I want to try, even if there was a chance. So there was an update to OBS, and now I am struggling to find my unified chat, which obviously I should have done before I went live, but didn't realize I didn't have it. So while this is loading, I'm just going to be looking over at my OBS here, trying to find that. Oh, there we go. Display unified chat. Okay. Let's bring that over here. All right. We go first. That's awesome. I'll keep this 7. It's got both of our colors. It's got a 1-drop into a 1-drop into maybe a counterspell. Unfortunately, Fairy Miscreant. Not a pirate. It's not cost reduced. Look out the dispersal. Neither is Healer's Hawk. Also of note, of course, is Deputy of Detention, which is not a flyer. Ooh, that's actually pretty nice here. I'm going to attack first, because if they want to flash something in, I'd rather them not be able to, like, Essence Scatter the Storm Tamer or something like that. And if they end up, you know, Merfolk Trickstering, and yeah, this is totally fine with me. That's a pretty low value play on their part. I mean, like, it's fine. It's a good play, but there's a lot better they could be doing with the Trickster. And this lets us get in Storm Tamer and hold up Lookout's Dispersal. So that worked out pretty well for us. But anyway, the list that I saw had... Oh, okay, let's just Dispersal that guy. See if they have Spell Pierce up. Sure do. They always have it, chat. But that does tap them off of... likely being able to protect through Deputy of Detention, because we just ripped a Spell Pierce out of their hand. And they just tapped all the way down through Storm Tamer, so that's pretty cool. Alright, so I will... Since trying to get Safara out, I don't think we actually offer this trade. I think we just want to, while they're tapped out, eat their Trickster. Eating the Trickster isn't actually that important, but it does get rid of the Curious Obsession, even if they get rid of our Deputy. Now again, we're just one Hanged Executioner from getting Safara next turn. That is definitely not Hanged Executioner. So we're 2 for 2 now of holding multiple Sepharas by like turn 4 or 5. Uh, yep, no blocks. I will start getting him with Deputy of Detention now, I think. Because if they go like Flash... That was pretty good. Okay, let's Incubation Incongruity. See if we can find a thing. We can pay through Spell Pierce for this if they did want to. I don't think we want to Incongruity their Djinn. I think that just forestalls the inevitable. Hanged Executioner right there. Notably, we can't play this and get Sephara in, but this does give us Sephara next turn, so we will run this out. They have a Wizard's Retort. Yep, Wizard's Retort's really good. We are probably... I mean, we do have live draws, but we're pretty far behind. Oh, I said I was going to attack with that Deputy there, didn't I? Yeah, we're misplaced. Oh, ooh, like we had it. Okay, so let's go with the Deputy, see if we can make them get greedy and like flash in something, flash in a Trickster. Well, actually, you know, if they flash in the Trickster, I'm interested to see how this works. Okay, I'm really glad that they've tapped down here. Oh, they're actually going to tap the Storm Tamer. I was hoping they would take the text off of Deputy of Detention so that I would know how that works. Oh, and a Spectral Sailor. Well, they're tapping really far down now. Yeah, I pretty much fine with this. The Trickster... Oh, do you know what? These guys lose flying because of Trickster, so I actually have to wait another turn now before I'll be able to Sephara. But if our opponent was playing heads up, they probably would have... Yeah, I'll take 10 and try to stabilize with Sephara, sure. I don't think it's going to happen because our opponent has 3 cards in hand. But they probably would have tapped something down as soon as we'd played Hanged Executioner, just because Executioner represents we can get a Sephara out for 1. But if the thing is tapped and doesn't have flying, it can't be tapped, and it's not a creature that has flying. Actually, we want to run out a Sailor first, because I don't think they have anything that can tax our Sephara. Because I don't think this deck usually runs Lookouts. Actually, it does run Lookouts Dispersal some of the time, so let's just do it this way. I think that's probably a safer play. The consideration here is that I would like to be able to chump with something that's not Spectral Sailor if I have to chump. But playing around a potential Dispersal seems pretty good. My guess here is that they just have a Trickster in hand, and that they will tap Sephara down. She will lose. She won't be able to block. Yep, here you go. Okay. We got the Sephara, but the triple Trickster is gonna get him there. Let's see. Yeah, because with the Sephara, we gain 7 if they swing. So we kill the Djinn, we take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We stay at 2 life even if we don't trump block with Spectral Sailor. So we actually, the Sephara plan did sort of get there, and the Incubation Incongruity did help with that, because we found the first Hanged Executioner, which let us resolve the second Hanged Executioner. So that was a thing worth noting. Wasn't too impressed with the Deputy of Detention, but I think those are there because of the toolbox nature of Incubation Incongruity, which I think because of this card we can keep this hand. It's not great, but we can flash in Sailor turn 1, and then turn 2 we can Incubation, see if we find something good. Hopefully that we can cast for white. I could Incubation first turn, but I think I would rather get out the Spectral Sailor, make sure I'm not passing through the actual rest of my turn. Okay, so I think here we might actually... Okay, go in, play the Storm Tamer. Actually, I think we do play the... Yeah, it's kind of stands the other way. Although, this, if they want to spell pierce, I'm pretty cool with actually. Okay, they do not. What I was really hoping for was either that or an Empyrean Eagle, just because we have a couple of 1/1s, just to help buff our side. Looks like we're against a Grixis and or just blue-red here. So do I actually want to go with Spectral Sailor, knowing that there's lots of instant speed stuff in these colors? Because I don't think I'm going to go in here, actually, because we're representing Sephara next turn. So I'm just going to do this, see if we can stick it. I would not be surprised if it gets countered, especially because they know it's in our hand. But, I mean, they're on things like Quench or Essence Scatter, which aren't that common. They don't have Sinister Sabotage mana yet. Okay, they just bolt the Spectral Sailor. It's fine play on their part. Okay, so here... Oh, let's see here. Just got a notification. Wait. Shoot, so I'm sorry, I'm gonna take 1 second here. I just got a notification ding, but I'm just seeing... Oh, there we go. Nelson Fuller has subscribed. Thank you so much. We really appreciate that. Sorry it took me a minute to get to you there. I was trying to sort through a couple of invalid parameters screens. So, yeah, boy, this is... Yep, so we're just going to swing. It's going to be really hard for us to ever resolve this Sephara through all of the spot removal in these colors. But we're going to try. We're just one draw away from having a Sephara. And we got 2 bodies on board and a Deputy Detention. Like, what are you going to do about it, opponent? That should have been a Hallowed Fountain there. That was my bad. That's one of the things that I actually really struggle with when I'm doing streaming, is that my sequencing of lands tends to get off, because it's something that actually, even in 2-color decks, it tends to lead to some things. Well, what color do I want next turn? Do I want to play tapped or untapped land here? And that's just part of my brain that I shut off somewhat at when I'm trying to make room for brain things. Okay, so we're gonna try to run out the Eagle here. I want to do this before I swing because I think that they're gonna bolt or shock something when we swing. Okay, yep, they just Sinister Sabotage. So that's Sinister Sabotage that cannot hit Sephara, because Sephara's alternate cast is a cast, so that can be counterspelled. So anyway, yeah, I wanted to do that before combat, because if our opponent isn't thinking about the maybe we play Sephara plan, then there's a chance that they let that resolve, and then they don't have a chance to respond before we can cheat the Sephara out. Shoot, no flyer. But we are at 6 lands now, so we can just hardcast her if we get 1 more land. I'm going to sandbag the land for now and just swing. There's nothing we need to spend the mana on during combat. If we had a Spectral Sailor, it might actually be proper to do that, because we could activate Spectral Sailor, possibly draw Lookout's Dispersal, and then play it during combat. But, as it is, we're just going to drop it out there. Lightning Strike. So in these colors, I'm actually worried about things like Niv Mizzet coming down. So I believe I actually want to counter this Lightning Strike and try to keep our Hanged Executioner around, although their hand's lighting up again, so it looks like they're considering another removal spell there. Well, they're opting here, which opt is not removal. The cool thing about Executioner is that they can't... Ooh, okay. I don't think there are any real cards in the format that get played that are triggers to, or that are counters to triggered or activated abilities. I know that there's Tail's End, which can do that, but I don't think that really gets played. Sorry, I've got my Forgot to mute my phone there. Oh, and there's the Safara after Safara that we had last time. I'm just going to deputy their Ral. When I see Ral in this many lands, I assume that they're about to do something hideous to us. And I want nothing of that, so... I'm just going to pick that guy up, put it under deputy. There's a good chance that they have a lightning strike or something for it, but at least then it's harder for them to also do something really busted because they have less mana. Okay, so there is another flyer. They have 5 cards. You know, what are the odds that they have a removal spell or a counter spell or... Oh, they had it. They had it. Who didn't see that coming? Not me. I definitely saw that coming. Okay, so we're back on the... I mean, we got him on 2 turns here. Like, that's not nothing. Crackling Drake is very good for them. Now, I kind of wish we had the deputy for that, but I think that getting rid of the Ral was just fine. Okay, so Incubation Incongruity has actually a pretty good chance of getting us a Safara, so we'll see if they're gonna... So we could actually also exile a Crackling Drake, but then they're dead in 3 because they have a blocker on the ground for a Deputy of Detention. So I think I'm gonna Incubation. They might have a negate for it. This is a really counterspell heavy deck. Alright, well there's the Empyrean Eagle. We have enough to play that and the Safara, so... Mana's not a consideration. We'll see if it resolves. It resolves. Oh, right. We only have 3 flyers. Okay, okay. I'm picking up what you're putting down. Alright, so we're still 1 off. Deputy of Detention does not have wings, although it would be pretty busted if it did. There's the Niv Mizzet we were worried about. But there's the planes we were hoping for. So, the question is, do we want to cheat out Safara, or do we feel like we need to just exile Niv Mizzet right now? Whenever you draw a card, deals 1 damage to any target. Yeah, we can't let that sit out for a turn. So I'm pretty sure we just have to eat it with the Hanged Executioner, and then Safara, and hope that she sticks around. Next turn, that is. And they could have a spell here to, you know, get value off of Niv Mizzet in response, but they do not, or if they do, they choose not to play it. We'll round out that plains. We will say no attacks. Also, I apologize right now if you're if there's questions in chat that I'm not seeing. Oh, second Niv Mizzet. Ouch. I'm getting invalid parameters for some reason from my chat in OBS, so I'm not able to tell what's actually going on. Okay. Well, we don't want to attack. We don't want this Niv Mizzet to stay around, but I don't think it's right to just Spectral Sailor and try to draw something, so we will run out Safara. Which, I mean, an 8/8 lifelinker that makes my side indestructible is pretty cool. I don't think they're going to be able to draw 8 cards to kill a Safara this turn. But this, I mean, they could have, you know, draw another card, cast a couple of lightning strikes, something like that. Okay. Okay, that's what the Ral's there for. I actually tried building a deck kind of like this. Let's see, how many cards did they draw? Do they have enough to actually kill our Safara here? But yeah, I tried building a deck kind of like this, but I could never make it come together. I kept trying to add green so I could do dumb things like ramp out Ral, Storm, Conduit, and then, like, duplicate a kicked Sapperling Swarm, or whatever it is, that then you would make, like, 8 1/1 tokens. It wasn't something you would actually want to be doing for that amount of mana, but it was fun trying to do it. Okay, so pretty sure we go in here. They have to block with something. I'm going to leave these 2 guys back as invulnerable blockers, and we also have a Spectral Sailor in hand. If they double block, which I imagine they probably want to, we have another Safara to go with their double Niv Mizzet, so that'll feel pretty good. We'll definitely leave the Crackling Drake on board and kill the Niv. We didn't miss lethal there, did we? Yeah, because we can only get in for 4 alongside this guy. And I want to be able to block the Crackling Drake, because I know what sort of nuts things these decks can do, and then with the Crackling Drake getting bigger every time they do a crazy thing, then we're really sad. So, speaking of really sad, that's how I hope our opponent's going to feel here. Again, because Deputy doesn't fly, we can't go Storm Tamer into cheat out Safara. It would be great if we could do that. So yeah, the Deputy showing its clunk here, taking us off of cheating out Safara a couple times. But also, you know, removing important threats, so that's also a thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they're going to copy something that costs up to 6 here. Morale's Outburst copied, so they get to deal a bunch of damage. So that has to go to our face, fortunately, which means that it's not enough to kill Safara on its own. But any Shock or Lightning Strike or Lava Coil, all of which I imagine are getting played in this deck, would do it. They put a Sinister Sabotage in the bin, so good chance that they found another spell. I really wish we could have cheated out that Safara, because then we would have Lookouts. Oh, they don't have it. They scoop it. Because yeah, but then we could have played the Lookouts Dispersal off of, you know, for cheap, having the Spectral Sailor, try to blow out one of their really big Ral plays. So Safara got us there finally. Could really see that this deck does not feel very optimized. It feels very, very rough and jank, but you know, that's where piles tend to start. I definitely, so I'm going to call it with this deck for now. Move on to something else because I just don't know the deck very well and want to put in some more time with it before we spend more time on stream. But the Incubation Incongruity does sound really good to me. Like, it's cheap, it's sorcery speed, which isn't great, but being able to dig for a Safara or a Hanged Executioner, or I think that's why the Deputy of Detention is run in the main deck of these a lot of the time, is because you effectively have extra copies off of the Incubation part too. So whenever you need it, you can hopefully grab it, and if you don't need it, hopefully you can grab something else that's more relevant. And the mana base didn't seem to hurt us there, actually. I think there was maybe one turn where we felt a little bit pinched, but it didn't feel that bad to me. I do kind of want to try out Grixis Beats, but I've made a lot of changes to the deck, and I don't want to do it in my addled state at the moment. So let's do some Lightning Striking. It's not a super simple deck, but it's a little more on the straightforward side, and it's the one that I have the most experience with of all of my decks right now. So hopefully I'll just be able to autopilot a little bit more than, you know, a deck that I've maybe played in 2 games in the past, like the one we just did. We're going first. We have no elementals until 3, but we do have some removal. The problem with this is that there's a lot of decks where this hand doesn't do anything. But against those, well, until turn 3. But against those decks, Risen Reef into Chandra is pretty cool, so I think we're going to pay the 2 here. If they're an aggressive deck, we really want to be able to shock this turn and then Lava Coil. Or sorry, shock this turn and then hopefully drop a 2-drop. It won't make any sense to Lava Coil this turn because they will have no targets if we shock their target. Okay, yeah, we did not find a thing that we want to play, which is unfortunate. But in against decks where they don't have 1-drops, usually the 2 life doesn't matter a whole ton. So we're playing against the deck that we just played against. That's kind of cool. This deck doesn't run a whole lot of removal, but it does run a fair number of counter spells. So I think, well, sometimes it does. Like we saw the Lookouts Dispersal. So I think I actually just want to start applying pressure with Chandra. Actually, I have 2 good Risen Reef targets here, or Risen Reef synergy pieces between the Chandra and the Scamper and Scorcher. So we will do this. We will take the action to get our ramp on, and then next turn, hopefully, we can do something really broken with the Risen Reef. Okay, they're just going to play Empyrean Eagle, which leaves us with the... Well, okay, we have 5 lands, so the answer to the question is... Well, actually, first we will play Chandra. See what we hit off of the Risen Reef. But I imagine that our next play is going to be Lava Coil, the Empyrean Eagle, and get in for 3. As you just saw, that card is really important to this deck. And we want to keep their flyer count low, because they probably run Safara. Our opponent gives us a nice, we give them a nice back because there is no thanks emote, so we're just stuck with the back and forth, nice. Okay. I don't think this was a great play on their part. I guess if they don't have any lands in hand, they kind of just have to do this and hope that they can stick something. But for now, they should know that we're just going to kill their Empyrean Eagle with Chandra. Because she can flash back Lava Coil. Lava Coil can blow up Eagle. Yeah, I guess they didn't see it. I feel that even though Chandra is a major all-star in this format, in my opinion, it feels like there's a surprising number of people that aren't quite picking up on the lines that people have with her, like we just saw there. Because I imagine that they didn't see that line, that they probably would have been better off playing Storm Tamer and then running out the Eagle next turn or something like that, and that when they saw that line, they just, you know, shame scoop. But yeah, that is always a... ooh boy, this is... If we thought that last hand was slow, this hand is slow, and it has no blue, so we can't play Reef. So we're definitely shipping this back. Opponent deep in the tank, which hopefully is good for us, because hopefully that means they have a really borderline hand. With this Icon of Ancestry, I just remembered that I did make a slight change to this deck since the last time we played it, in that I took out one Overgrowth Elemental, so we're down to 2, and I added a third Icon of Ancestry in its place. I did that because I opened a new Icon of Ancestry, so that got me thinking about it. But then also I thought that we'll keep this 6, probably toss back a Trailblazer. See, I want all these lands, and these 2 are nice, good value guys. Oh, that's a nice top deck. Because I was just noticing, so I was noticing how much work the Icon of Ancestry was putting in this deck, because we have so much go wide. We, you know, have ramp with the Risen Reefs and everything. So it was just getting really good value. And let's see if this resolves. It does. Great. Okay, it's going right back to our hand. Great. If you're on the play, we could just Omnath or Teferi away this turn, but no such luck. So what was the other reason that I added that card to this deck? I lost my train of thought. Struggling to come back because I'm... Jace, Wielder of Mysteries, not what I was expecting on turn 4. Well, they got 2 really good hits there, even though it's usually not great to mill your opponent. They just drew us into the next Risen Reef, so that's also cool. So what was the other thing that I was thinking about in terms of adding that card that I added? I think I want to Reef and replay that Stomping Grounds. Or play that Stomping Grounds that we've had in hand. Okay, so action, Elemental. Yes, what was the other reason that I put that guy in? Well, they hit another Chandra, so that's good for them. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it was just because it's a good card, and it's been doing a lot of work. And it actually does win us a lot of games, probably more than the Overgrowth Elementals, where we are more likely just to kind of, you know, cheese things out. We're going to go Omnath first here, I believe. Actually, no. We're going to run this guy out because this is a known card. This takes us off of playing Omnath and then playing a land to buff someone this turn. But this also pumps our guys. I want to try to bait out a counterspell here because they only have 2 blue, so if they have Sinister Sabotages, they can only counter 1 card. Alright, it resolves, so that means that we get this, and I think I'm actually, so I'm going to attack now. Do I feel like, well, I actually feel like I want to take them off their J-Salt because we haven't applied any pressure this game. So between the possibility that they do something crazy and win off of his minus. Ooh, that's very nice. Um, okay, so we lose a Risen Reef and a Living Twister. I'd never play or Unsettle the Wreckage because that's a card that I basically never see any longer, but it sucks when it hits you, and we only have one basic to find. Oh, we're still in combat, so I can't play land. Okay, so now play this, play this. I imagine they're just looking at an opt here or something, because I don't think they can do anything about the Omnath. As I was saying, not expecting to be hitting a Jace Wielder of Mysteries, but I don't want them to draw 7 cards, man. That sounds really nasty. I really don't care about the milling. Milling your opponent is actually usually a bad thing unless you're going to, unless it's part of your win condition, or in specific circumstances where Cleansing Nova is a good card right now. Oh boy, into Teferi Time Raveler. They don't want the trigger off of the Omnath here. I can see that. That's fine. So yeah, I don't like milling me here, although they probably there's not really much synergy that I can have with the graveyard in this deck, so it's fine. If they actually are on the mill plan for winning, then that's good. So I think I'm just gonna play this to buff Omnath. And then I'll play this to buff Omnath. Oh, they have a... I just realized I know they have a Cleansing Nova in hand. Yeah, like I said, not paying a whole lot of attention today because I am tired. Well, I guess we'll just, you know, kill Jace. Stop him from drawing 7 cards because that will definitely lock us out of the game. Just toss a Lightning Strike on Narset since we can't do it at instant speed. Yeah, now we're going to get blown out by Cleansing Nova because I played around it like a derp. But we'll gain 2 life. That's nice. Life gain is really relevant in this matchup because it gained us that 2 life that we shocked in from. So we have an Overgrowth Elemental in hand, and a Lava Coil, which probably does nothing in this match. So I'm just going to play this. I'll give them the good game. They pretty much got this. And you'll see we were able to apply virtually 0 pressure that whole game. Part of it was because we were on the play, and we just had 2 drop into their Teferi, and that took us off of our curve. So without that, we would have been able to put a little more pressure on them and maybe pressure their life total instead of feeling like we have to stop their Jace from drawing them all of their library. Yeah, just not being able to hit a good aggro curve there really kind of locked us out of that game. And then, you know, playing into the Cleansing Nova. But yeah, so when you're milling people, only mill your opponent if you know they can't get any value out of it. Otherwise, if you think that they might be getting any, mill yourself, because you saw, like, oh, they got rid of a Chandra and a... This is sketchy, but yeah, I'm going to throw it back. I don't like the double Omnath. This is much better. And we'll probably put back a Twister, because that's a kind of situational card. Because it was like, oh, okay, they took me off of, you know, I couldn't play... You know, I didn't draw that Risen Reef and that Chandra that they milled off of Jace. And that's true, but by taking me off of those cards, they also drew me into the next cards that I drew, and you saw, like, the next turn I drew a Risen Reef anyways. So the odds that they did something like mill 2 lands, just gonna Breeding Pool here, like, they're just as likely to mill 2 lands and then draw me into Risen Reef Chandra as they are to mill the Risen Reef Chandra off the top of my deck. Like, it comes out in the wash. So don't be fooled into thinking that you should always mill your opponent with cards like that or enter the God Eternals, because often your opponent gets bonuses from having their cards in the graveyard, or you could get bonuses from having your cards in the graveyard. And there are very few cases where it benefits you to remove cards from their library and put them into the graveyard like that. Okay, we don't have any of our removal right now. Our opponent is playing Kalia. So we are just going to have to hope that we can outgrind a 3/3 Flying Vigilance, draw like 3 bombs, which I've done with this deck before. I'm probably about 50-50 versus the Kalia deck. but it relies a lot on us getting a good removal spell for whatever they play, and then getting a Chandra to flash it back a couple times, which we have not done so far. Shock matches up. Shock is probably the worst card in this deck by a long shot against Kalia. Well, they've got Sorin in this one. Sorin often run in this because a lot of their key cards are 3 CMC, so you can drop Sorin, get it back immediately, and still have the Sorin on board to, you know, gain your life and stuff like that. Well, there's half of what we want to be doing. And we do have the 3... Well, what we actually want to do here is Omnath into Shock to clear away that Angel. But of course we want to... Well, so if we play the Unclaimed Territory first, we can't buff Risen Reef with Omnath, but if we don't play it first, then we can't actually shock the Resplendent Angel, because we won't have red mana up. That mana can only be used... It's basically colorless unless we... I'm going to put it here to dodge Lightning Strike, hopefully. Unless we're using it to cast elemental spells. So Sorin's going to get back Resplendent Angel and probably go to 2. Which means that if I attack him here and then play Chandra, they... well, if they don't play any... This relies on them not playing any more blockers or removal, which is very unlikely. But this does give me a line where they have Resplendent Angel on board, and I can attack with the Chandra tokens and the Omnath and kill... Or they could just bedevil our guy, and then we feel real sad. But that means they're going to spend this turn getting rid of the Omnath, and then probably putting Resplendent Angel back into play, and then we can Chandra and get some draw going on, which will be great because we're going to... oh, now we have all 3 icons, and that doesn't feel good at all. But, I wonder if it's actually right just to kill the Sorin here, because it's really hard to kill Sorin. Oh wait, we can kill the Sorin like this, because we have 6 mana now. Okay, so we play the Chandra. We activate the Chandra. And so they killed our Omnath because it was threatening their Sorin, or they would have to chump block with their Resplendent Angel. But for the reason you're seeing right now, I think it might have been a lot better for them to kill the Risen Reef, because as we've seen before, Risen Reef can just take over games so hard. So we can name Elemental, and now we have 2 disposable 2/2s that we can throw at their Sorin. Even if we were in a complete racing situation right now, they could have a shock for this last one. No, okay. In that case, I really don't like their block there, because I don't think we'd play a land for that turn, and if we had land shock, we would be able to kill the Resplendent Angel, and they've seen shock from us. And they gain nothing by blocking that card, because that elemental was going to die anyways. Bishop of Wings, another really good card, and the only way that we really have to remove it is Lava Coil, which we have not seen yet. But, you know, maybe we'll see it if we activate Chandra. Just maybe. At the very least, that'll represent a lot of pressure, because we can play 2 more Icon of Ancestry here. Oh, well, there's Shock. So if we hadn't activated Chandra, we could... oh, but choose at 1 anyways, so that will not work. But I think what we're going to do here is play an Icon of Ancestry, make sure that it's tapping us correctly. Play an Icon, name Elemental, make it has 3/3s. I'm actually going to hold off the Creeping Trailblazer for now, because what I really want to do... Or actually, play the... We have 4 mana left, so... what I really want to do is kill its Bishop of Wings. So I want to swing with Side. Get them to block with Bishop of Wings. And then shock Bishop of Wings, because that thing can really go off in this deck. Well, we've got all 3 icons, guys. I mean, that's not bad. That's, you know, that makes our Risen Reef a 4/4. Chandra's going to die this turn, but, you know, that makes Chandra token 4/4s. That's 8 power per turn she's fielding, 10 power per turn with Creeping Element, or with Creeping Trailblazer. So, even in this crazy situation where the top 18 cards of our deck have all 3 Icon of Ancestry, I don't feel that bad about it. And if we start missing on activations, or we have this much mana, we can probably activate this a couple times per turn and just really start fielding creature after creature, which we're really going to have to do because, as you can see, they have the 3/3 vigilance, draw a bunch of cards, all of which are bombs. Oh, they just hit one, but it's one of the best they could hit because that's 3 bodies effectively. All right, we're going to activate this now. See what we find. I think we're going to go another Risen Reef and just try to grind them out of this game and make them play defensively, hopefully. I mean, it's going to be really easy for them to do that with the Seraph of the Scale, but hopefully we draw Lava Coil, which we just did. So that is play into your outs. We can't block, and they can't double block, so we are just going to... We're going to hold up the mana for now, because, well, I guess if they don't want to block with Kali, which I imagine they do, but if they don't block with Kali, this represents 1 more damage. Take the action. Take the action. Alright, and we can activate probably every one of these icons every turn from now on. Alright, so opponent has us dead in 3 turns presently. With let's see, probably this one. With the Seraph of Scales, which they probably imagine sticks around, because there's not really many good answers to it in this deck. Then they would have us dead in 2 turns. Alright, they can start paying life to draw cards here. That's pretty cool. I've never actually seen anyone play in Arguel's Bloodfast against me before. Oh, that gets them back Bishop of Wings, which is pretty good. Although, they're paying out a lot of life here. Okay, so they go up to 17. They can get back a Bishop of Wings to have 1 blocker, but we attack for 5, 10, 15, 30 damage. Well, I'll have 2 blockers because Kali has Vigilance. Oh, and then, yeah, okay, so see, that's why we always want to kill Bishop of Wings, and we couldn't there, which is a huge problem. But, so we have a lot of draws here, and we have a lot of damage, and we have a removal spell. And if we hit a Chandra, we'll have enough to flash back through the spell, and I think that would kill it. So we'll see if any of our 6 first hit is Chandra. Take that action. Sometimes you actually want to decline that trigger, because if you haven't played a land for a turn, you can draw it, or you can put it into your hand. Decline the trigger, put it into your hand, and then put it in untapped, if that's a legal action. We don't actually want to flash back Lava Coil, do we? We just want to make a bunch of elementals and kill them with that. So, yeah, let's play a Chandra. Make sure we're not tapping off of red. Activate Chandra. I don't think we're going to deck ourselves now. We have 29 cards. We're fine. We're fine. That's a lot of Stormkin. Alright, so we got 4 mana left. Just in case they have like a fog or something, I don't know how they would, but just in case, we're going to kill off their Bishop of Wings with this. And that leaves us enough to also play a Lightning Stormkin. We could have also just played another Scampering Scorcher, which would have actually fielded more power, but yeah, they see that their time has come. So yeah, you saw it there. So this is a really, really grindy match, because they have a lot of easy ways of blocking our cards. I love Craft. They have a lot of easy ways of blocking our cards, and slowing us down. And Kali has Vigilance, which is really important there, because that's a threat that we can't really block, because our only flying blocker is a 2/2. We don't have Cavaliers in this deck. And they... so they have a really good flying Vigilance blocker. They have really good card advantage. And they have life gain with Sorin and recurring their things. So this is a really grindy matchup, even though it's pretty strictly mid-range, not in the like super huge control, command the Dread Horde or go off with Yara, can Field of the Dead. But so for a match like that, you can see those 3 Icon of Ancestry really paying dividends. If one of those had been Overgrowth Elemental that would have been way worse for us. And we even got to, we had turns there where we probably could have done some. I don't remember if we actually did the double activation or not for one turn. I think we always managed to play everything we drew off of just the one. And then we had all those Risen Reefs triggers. So, but yeah, so you actually got to see. I'll bring up the deck list here. You actually kind of got to see that go off, which was fun because I've never had more than one of those out. I've had two out at a time, but I've never had all three because I just added the third one. And sometimes it works. There are probably matches where that's too slow. We want to sideboard it out in best of four, like because when you open with a couple of these in your hand and you know your one creature's a Stormkin or something, then you just feel like a chump when you need to race. But best of one, game one, it can do some good stuff, especially with Chandra. Making your elementals 2/2s or 3/2s or 4/4s or 4/3s or whatever between all your different pump effects. Pretty cool stuff. So, anyway, I think I'm gonna wrap it up for now. I just heard my wife get home, so it seems like a good time to call it. Sorry for the condensed stream today, but hopefully I'll be bringing you longer streams in the near future. I'm going to be at a gaming convention Friday through Sunday, so no streams over the weekend. But once we're back, we'll be right back to the usual streaming. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me. This has been Ben with the Tiger's Den. It's always so much fun, and we'll see you next time. Take care.